Okay, now today I'm showing you the exact 5 steps that a man has to follow in order to desexualize his brain to increase natural attraction and actually dopamine detox properly. So here's why this is so important as a man. As a man, if you can control not only your thirst, but if you can control where you're putting your energy, you are literally now a driving force in life to actually level up. You are now a driving force in life to actually be the masculine man that you are called to be. However, here's what happens. As your brain is constantly in the mode of lust, as your brain is constantly in the mode of sex, as your brain is constantly in the mode of thinking, how many dating options that is out there for you or any of these things, this suffocates your growth as a man. This makes it far harder to get ahead, and this makes it so that way you are lost, have no purpose, and cannot actually connect with women in the real world. And that is something that I do not want to have happen to you. So that is why I'm making this video. Now, I also know how powerful this is because, for example, inside of our movement today, we just crossed over 340 members. And with that said, one of our members goes, "Not lusting and chasing sexual desire has made me see through their beauty and not get blinded by it." And this is why I'm telling you this. If you can actually control your lust, if you can actually control your thirst, if you can actually control your simple pleasures in life, what will happen is that now you can actually make connections with women in the real world, which is what you want, and that's what women want. They want something real. It needs to feel real to them. If you can make it feel real, this is how they fall in love. So step 1 to doing this, you need to cut out all dirty websites, okay? Not just dirty websites some of the time, not just, occasionally it's okay to slip up and you watch it once or twice a month. I'm talking you completely cut out all dirty websites, and here's why. What that does when you enter into those types of videos is this totally ruins your male drive as a man that is absolutely needed to consistently level up. That masculine energy that you harness, that sex drive, that right there is the key to building income. That right there is the key to actually building a life for yourself. That right there is the key to actually building and finding your purpose. When you are pleasuring yourself artificially, and it is not with a real companion, it is not with a real woman, it is simply you entering into these mental fantasies, what this does is this not only makes you awkward, but this makes it far harder to connect with women in the real world. I'm telling you this, the second that you finally stop watching those is the second that you completely feel free. It's like almost a weight is lifted off your shoulders, and this weight lifted off your shoulders makes you a stronger, more resilient man. See, here's what I can tell you. When you enter into those websites, it's going to feel good. But what do we know about pleasure and pain? Pleasure and pain has an inverse relationship. The more something feels good, the more repercussion and consequences there are on the back end, which means that every single time you enter into pleasure, there is always typically pain on the flip side. And when you cut out these dirty websites, you actually gain self-control, you actually gain the discipline skills needed to become a masculine man. So that is number 1. Now, step 2 to actually accomplishing this is going to be a concept I have never talked about before. Step 2 is you need to stop lusting women and you need to stop being thirsty. And this goes for no matter where you are. You're walking down the shopping mall, you see a beautiful woman, you're able to maintain composure. You're at the gym and you see very attractive women, you take your eyes off of them and you maintain your composure, because when you give off that thirsty energy, you become weak, you lose some of your power. That validation, that attention that you're giving, you lusting them, what it shows is you don't have control over your desires. Now, there is only one way in my whole life that I have actually found that is actually possible to maintain this and to stick this out. Because here's what you have to understand. You will oftentimes fall weak to these things. You'll fall weak unless you master this one thing. And this one thing that you have to master, or this one affirmation, this one saying that I constantly repeat through my head, I'm going to explain. If I ever feel the need to shift my eyes over towards her, if I ever feel the need to look at things I shouldn't be looking at, if I ever feel myself slipping into that thirsty energy, I instantly stop and I tell myself, I self-reflect and I go, God would not like that. God would not like if I did that. I'm becoming a weaker person. God wants me strong. I need to be strong. I need to be strong for myself. I need to be strong for him. God would not like that. If you repeat that, here's what happens is it puts you in line. It puts you in check. For myself, I don't know about you, but for myself personally, that has been the only way that I have actually been able to figure this out for myself, so that way I am stronger than my simple desires, or I'm stronger than, my pleasures. This is the only way. When I tell myself that, it's like, okay, someone's watching, and it's him, right? It's God. God wouldn't like me acting that way. If I am able to maintain that sort of composure, that adds strength to my clarity, that adds strength to my wisdom. I feel stronger. So that's number 2. You have to stop lusting. You have to stop being thirsty. If you do that, once again, you're not leading with that mindset of what happens in the bedroom. Now you make real interactions, you make real connections, and you talk to real people. And here's what happens. You talk to that girl who's very, very pretty, but she sees you're not trying to lead things that way. She instantly goes, whoa, he's different. Now she goes, whoa, why is he not treating me like all the other guys? Whoa, he doesn't want anything from me. Whoa, this guy's different. Whoa, I like him. These are the thoughts, feelings, and emotions you have to create. Now, number 3, this one is extremely powerful. You have to learn how to appreciate a woman's beauty without feeling the need to obtain intimacy or obtain affection. And here's why this is so important. When you can just appreciate her beauty, what happens is you value it, but the amazing thing is that it doesn't control you. And the fastest way that I have found to actually achieve that is by actually retaining your seed. Every single time that you self-pleasure, every single time you even have the thought of self-pleasuring, it's like a slippery slope, right? Okay, so think about this. I'm this way with food. Okay, so I'll give you an example. If I have 1 piece of chocolate, then I want 2. If I have 2 pieces of chocolate, then I want 4. If I have 4, then I want 8. If I'm doing really good on my diet, if I have 2 pieces of pizza, now I want the whole pizza. If I have 1 can of pop, now I want the whole 12-pack of soda. Like, this is what happens, is it's a slippery slope because pleasure is addictive. These are triggers, okay, that lead you down a slippery slope into pain. So part of being a masculine man is having wisdom. Part of being wise is you actually taking time for yourself and identifying what is healthy and what isn't. And on top of that, being wise means that you're actually able to take a look at your life objectively and decide for yourself if this is a good habit or a good path or not. Very, very, very important. Now, number 4 is huge, okay? Understand that your thirst is not quenchable. Okay, it's not quenchable. Like, if you give off any sort of thirsty energy, women sense this, women pick up on this, and women pull away. This is why guys who actually master the language of women understand at a deep level that it needs to be her coming to you. It needs to be her seeking reassurance from you, because the second that you give off that thirsty energy is the exact second that she senses your weakness. So I'll give you an example. We had another member in our community. He goes, using my soul and masculine spirit that God gifted me, and I started doing more. He goes, I know the second that I want her, she doesn't want me, and now the whole dynamic changes and it's over. These are real men, just like you and me. So when I'm telling you this, understand that your thirst is not quenchable. Here's what you have to understand. You could have a million different girlfriends. You could have a million different dating options. You could have a million different companions. You could sleep with a new girl every single night if you had that amount of access. And you know what? It would still feel like it's not enough. You would still feel empty. You would still feel like you need more. Because of that, there's something deeper that you need to be seeking. And part of these answers you need to come to your own conclusions with on your own terms throughout your own life. But this is what you have to realize, is that pleasure will not lead to happiness. You have to understand that your thirst, that neediness, can never be satisfied. And the more you give time, the more you give energy, the more attention and emphasis you give towards it, the weaker you become as a man. Now, last but not least is number 5. The 5th way, okay, that you actually start to desexualize your brain is you have to step into your calling as a man. You have to step into that calling. When you step into that calling, that God-given purpose, and you feel as if you have value, you have to understand that work no longer feels like work. You can work 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and because you're in alignment with your calling, because you're in alignment with your purpose, you feel as if you're never working a day at all. This is powerful. I'll give you another example. We had a guy who goes, just being in this community here for 2 weeks, I have noticed some great changes in myself. I already have increased confidence in terms of speaking with my boss, coworkers, and women. This is what happens when guys start to step into that calling. When you step into your calling as a man, what happens is the world around you changes. You don't look at work the same anymore. You don't look at dating interactions or relationships the same anymore. You understand that you have value to you as a man, and it is your job and it is your duty to step into that masculine God-given calling, and you will never be fulfilled. You will never be satisfied. Your lust, your simple pleasures will always hold weight over you until you come to these conclusions on your own terms and you actually start to live a new life and a different mindset that is different from majority of all other men out there. This is the most powerful step-by-step process that you can have. And this is the exact 5 steps that I have had to actually come to terms with, come to conclusions with on my own terms. And this has helped me. And my gut feeling, my gut intuition is telling me that if this helped me, this can help you too.